Good day, everyone. I'm Dr. Yogi Triprasatio, an associate professor from the School of Industrial Engineering and Engineering Management, Mapua University in the Philippines. Today, I'm going to present my paper entitled Students' Preference Analysis on Online Learning Attributes using Conjoint Analysis, a comparison between senior high school, undergraduate, master, and doctoral programs. So here is actually my biography. Okay, so basically, my research interests are as follows, and conjoint analysis is actually one of my research expertise. And today, everyone, I would like to present these two papers basically. Okay, these two papers have been published already, one in sustainability and the other one in evaluation and program planning. Why I choose this topic? Because my expertise is actually human factors and ergonomics, and I would like to expand, the cognitive ergonomics in the online learning, especially in the online learning attributes. Because we basically still in the during we are basically still facing the COVID-19 pandemic, and then for the education sector, we have to face like the online platforms and then online settings. So that's why I would like to share about this one. And then these two publications, everyone, okay, one is actually talk about the bachelor degree students, master degree students, and PhD degree students in industrial engineering, okay? And then the other one is actually only the senior high school, okay? And in Mapua University, we have a Mapua University Senior High School, and then we have also Mapua University. So basically, like I conducted two studies, okay? Now, in this presentation, I would like to merge, those findings into one single presentation. Okay. And in this study, the total participants like 126. Okay. And for this one, the total participants were 1,189. Okay. So here is the agenda. I'm going to talk about the importance of the online learning attributes. And for the methodology, I would like to talk about the conjoint analysis using the orthogonal design. And then we go to the results and discussions. I would like to talk more about the key findings, especially the important values and utilities. And finally, I would like to go to the conclusions, limitations, and future research direction. Okay, let's talk about the importance of the online learning attributes. So the COVID-19 pandemic and online education, it's just like even this conference, we make it still online, right? And it has a very big impact, in the education sector across the world. And it forced the educational system to shift from face-to-face to online, which widely known as an online academic year or fully online learning. Okay. Taking this consideration to the Philippines, fully online learning has been implemented, since the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, we started this since March 2020. The students have been experiencing this type of educational setting for almost 1 year, including the senior high school students. Okay, not just the BS, but also including the senior high school students. Yeah. So everyone, this is actually the about the online learning attributes, right? For instance, like a Coursera, Microsoft Teams, Blackboard, Zoom, like asynchronous or synchronous learning, So these are some of the attributes, okay, that you can choose, okay. And although there were several studies that deal with online learning, and the students' preference on online learning attributes during the COVID-19 pandemic is mainly underexplored, okay, and especially for the senior high school, also still underexplored. So here comes a question: what is the best practice for the online learning? Okay, what is the best combination of those attributes? And do students really perceive those attributes as equally important? So those questions I would like to tackle, in my papers, those two papers. And the purpose of this study was to evaluate the preference of the Mapua University Senior High School undergraduate, master's, and doctoral students on online learning attributes during the COVID-19 pandemic by utilizing a conjoint analysis approach. So what are the contributions of the study? First, okay, it can be a strong theoretical foundations to determine the optimal combinations of online learning attributes for senior high school, bachelor degree, master degree, and PhD students. And then it can be a strong theoretical foundations for further students' preference segmentation. And last, perhaps, those two studies are the first studies that utilize conjoint analysis in analyzing the senior high school, bachelor degree, master degree, and PhD students' preference on the online learning attributes. Let's talk about the methodology, okay? I utilize the conjoint analysis. I believe most of you know what conjoint analysis, okay? But let's go back again a little bit so I can accommodate some of you who do not understand, or like some of you who still new, regarding the conjoint analysis. So it's a multivariate technique, okay, everyone? And then we basically evaluate, a product or a service simultaneously, like together, like conjoin, we join it and then we evaluate it. But when we evaluate it as a one single product or one single service, we can actually break it down into several factors, or we call it in conjoint attributes. Okay, same, factors, attributes, but we use the term attributes in because conjoint analysis usually is actually common term, for factors. We name it like attributes. Okay, for instance, when you buy coffee, okay, in Starbucks, okay, when you go to Starbucks, like there are some choices, right? Like you like a hot or cold, you like with frap or not, or you like sweet or not sweet, and the sugar level you like a, like super sweet or like normal or less, and then basically like if you break it down, the coffee, for instance, here I give you an example, the type, the temperature, the beans, and the sugar. Okay. The type we can choose like cappuccino, Americano, espresso, latte, And for the temperature, we can choose like hot or cold or warm, perhaps. And the beans, you like Arabica or Robusta. And then for the sugar, you like more sugar, normal sugar, less sugar, or even no sugar. Okay. So basically, okay, you can choose from here, choose one, choose one, choose one, choose one, and then we can see, later on, which attributes actually the most important attributes, and then later on, we can see like the best combinations, among this for the preference. Okay, so this is actually like some advantages of using conjoint analysis. Okay, we can see, the further market segmentation. Okay, for instance, okay, if you only sell latte or a cappuccino, but there is a small part, for instance, like me, I like espresso. So if you don't provide espresso, I will never go to your coffee shop. Okay, so basically, like this is very important. Okay, and then conjoint analysis can be utilized for the new product development, especially for the entering a new category or extending types of product within a category. Okay, and finally, we can also determine the optimal positioning, okay, by utilizing the conjoint analysis. So the good thing why I want to choose this one, because the respondents are forced to make difficult trade-off. Okay, so I force them to, like, for example, the online learning attributes. There are a lot, but what's the most important? Among those attributes. Okay, it's like, so those attributes. You know what? I would like to see. Which one is actually the most important. And then everyone, okay, I utilize orthogonal design. Okay, so orthogonal design in here, for example, like I think most of you already know about the 2K factorial design. For example, in here, this is actually like let's see, let's say, okay, there are three attributes or three factors, and each attribute has two levels. Okay, so the full design will be like 2 the power of 3. Okay, so it's going to be the total, number of the stimuli will be 8. Okay, but this is if actually the full profile. Okay, but I would like to just pick, some of the, I would like to say the minimum number of the stimuli. Okay, basically, we know what we call the orthogonal design. Okay, the orthogonal design in here. Okay, in here the minimum, for this case, okay, there would be 4. Okay, so this is actually very, very useful when you have so many attributes that you want to test. Okay. So for example, like this case, okay, for the type, you have 4. For the temperature, you have 2. For the beans, you have 2. For the sugar, you have 4. So the full profile will be 4 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 4. So it's going to be like 64 the stimuli. Okay. And it will be very difficult for the respondents, to answer those 64 stimuli. That's why I choose the orthogonal design to reduce the number of the stimuli that need to be tested, okay, to the participants. Okay, so here are the steps, okay, that I did for those two studies. Okay, the first I did brainstorming, okay, with some faculties and also with the I read so many previous studies regarding the online learning attributes. Then I decide, like which attribute, that we select. Okay, and then we generate the orthogonal design using the SPSS, okay? And then we actually prepare the questionnaire, okay? And I collect the data. And then for each of the stimulus, okay, I use like 1 to 7 Likert scale, okay? 1 is actually the least preferred, 7 is actually the most preferred, okay? And then interpret the results, and then I double check with the interview with some of them, okay? So for the senior high school, okay, remember I split two different studies, okay? For the senior high school, I collected around 1,189, okay? And then for the male, 715, for the female, like 474, and then grade 11, 512, and grade 12, actually 677, and these are the ages, okay? And then all respondents were Mapua University senior high school students, and all students had experiences and were well known about the online learning attitudes. Okay. And for the industrial engineering participants, another publication in sustainability, the total 126. Okay. And for the bachelor degree, Bachelor of Science in Industrial Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Service Engineering Management, the total were 79. Okay. And for the online master degree program, okay, this is online. Like I would like to say, at the beginning, it's online. Even before the COVID-19 pandemic, the curriculum actually a little bit different. Okay, so they actually face online learning more than the non-online graduate programs. Okay, so here, Master of Engineering program in Industrial Engineering. Okay, and then we had 22 participants. Okay, and for this one, okay, for the normal graduate program, Master of Science in Industrial Engineering, Master of Science in Engineering Management, and PhD in Industrial Engineering, the total were 17 students. Okay, but this one is almost 100% of the total population in our school. Okay, and same, all respondents had experiences and are well known about the online learning attitudes. So what are the attributes, right? That's the question. Okay, these are the 6 attributes for the senior high school, and these are the 7 attributes for the undergraduate, bachelor degree, master degree, and PhD degree. Okay, so I split into 2 attributes, 2 different questionnaires. Okay, so here, what are those? Okay, for the senior high school, I had delivery type, Blackboard template, evaluation, assign tasks, the virtual laboratory, and delivery platform. Okay, for delivery type, I have asynchronous. It means like everything is actually asynchronous, that you can actually just play it just like in YouTube, no live. Okay, synchronous is like live presentation. Okay, and mix is actually synchronous with the uploaded recorded video presentation. Okay, the Blackboard template, kind of like this one, because we have 11 weeks in one term. Okay, so you can be like either this one or you like the course outcome space like this one. Okay, we have two choices. And for the evaluation, you like multiple choice, you like computation, you like essay, you like identification, matching type, or the project. And assign, you like group or individual. Okay, and virtual laboratory required or not required. Okay, and then for the delivery platforms, we have like either Zoom, Blackboard, Interactive, or the MS Teams. Okay, and for the undergraduate, master, and PhD, same delivery type. For Blackboard template, I had 3. Okay, so weeks, course outcomes like this, and the models. Okay, the term style like modular or non-modular. Okay, and final exam, I had like multiple choice essay or one conference paper. Okay, the Coursera required or non-required, SitWorks required or non-required. Okay, and platforms, I had Zoom, Blackboard, Interactive, and then MS Teams. Okay, so this is actually an example of the questionnaire. Okay, everyone. So for the senior high school, I had like 29, 29 stimuli. Okay, the total number of the stimuli. And the students, all of the participants were forced, okay, to imagine a package of the online learning as follows. For example, number 16. So the class will be synchronous, okay, live or only live. The interface layout, the Blackboard template, the course outcomes, the evaluation like matching type is like A, B, C on the left side and then A, B, C on the right side. And you try to match, like with, those things. Okay. And then the task is like individual. And then virtual laboratory, yes, there is a requirement for a virtual laboratory and the delivery platform from Blackboard Collaborate. Now, imagine this one, and you have to evaluate 1 to 7. Okay, and go to the next one, go to the next one, go to the next one. So it's quite tedious, okay, for some students, but let's see the reliability test, later on. Okay, but I remember like it's high, okay, so it's still quite okay, with I would like to say it's good, okay, for the reliability. So it's quite tedious for the students. Just imagine like you have to evaluate 29 coffees, okay, that have different attributes inside of the coffee. Okay, so these are actually quite challenging, okay, for the data collection. And then why this one was distributed through Google Form only, okay, because we could not do face to face, okay, because it was still during COVID-19 pandemic, okay. And for the undergraduate, I had the total 20 stimuli, okay. The other study, okay, I had like 20, okay, the number of the stimuli. Now let's see the results and the discussion of the study, okay? And let's go for the industrial engineering first, okay? I split into 3 different segments. Usually, the audiences, they usually ask me like, why you split into 3 like this one? Why don't you use the natural classification, for instance, like K means clustering, okay? I use this one because everyone, okay? Those are different by nature. Okay, for a bachelor degree program, they have so many credits, so many units. Okay, for online master degree program, they actually, because they face online learning, I would like to say online learning environment faster, okay, than the non online graduate programs. Okay, that's why I split into these 3. Okay, split these 3. Okay, so each of, and after collecting the data, I run it, one by one. I run, this one like around 70 something students. This one around, I forget how many, but this one is around like 70 students. So run one by one. So for bachelor degree program, very interesting, everyone. The most important for them is actually the final requirement, 27.957. Okay. They actually like what? The final requirement. They like the multiple choice. Okay. So they don't like essay, Carfax paper. Also, they don't like, but they actually don't like essay more. Okay. The term style, okay, they don't like the modular. They like the non-modular, okay. And then for the seat work practice, they don't like seat works, like homework, and then practice and homework, they don't like it. The delivery type, they like mix. It means like they like synchronous like this with a recorded video presentation. But if they have to ask, as they have to be asked, like to choose synchronous or asynchronous, okay, they will choose, they will choose what? They will choose asynchronous. Look at this. They like asynchronous more than synchronous. But what, imagine if you have exam, multiple choice, and you make it like asynchronous, what will happen with the student? They can just like chat each other, and we don't know like whether they really understand with the class or not. Okay, but and the least important like to the Blackboard. Okay, and this is actually the Pearson's R and Kendall style quite high, so it's quite reliable. Okay, using the 79 participants. Okay, this is actually a very interesting finding. Next, for the online master degree program, the most important for them is actually the delivery type. Look at this, 47.691, almost 50%. Okay. But what they'll prefer mix. Look at that, 0.156. But if they actually were forced to choose between synchronous and asynchronous, they like asynchronous because it gives them flexibility, they work in different countries, like in Saudi Arabia, in Canada, in Singapore. We have different time zones, and then if you make it like asynchronous care for everyone, it will be easier for those students. That's why, they actually do care about this one more than the other attributes, like for templates, it works, and blah 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 and so on. It's just low. Okay. But very interesting, they actually do not prefer Zoom and MS Teams, in here. They actually prefer Blackboard Interactive because for them, like there is a security or like a security issue. Okay. And then for this one, very interesting for the graduate programs, Master of Science in Industrial Engineering, Master of Science in Engineering Management, and then a PhD program. They almost the same with the undergraduate. They actually do care about the final requirement, but what they do care, they like one conference paper or like making one paper as the final exam or like as the requirement to pass the class. So very interesting, right? Very different with the undergraduate students. Okay. And they like mix, of course, but if they were forced to choose synchronous or asynchronous, okay, they like synchronous more. See, they like synchronous more. They like chat, they like talking, they like to discuss it live with the faculty. So that's why. And for the seat works, they don't like the seat works, okay. And for the delivery type, okay, they actually like mix, but they actually like synchronous more than asynchronous, okay. And for the online platform, they actually prefer the Zoom. Okay, everyone, they prefer the Zoom. And then the reliability is actually quite good. Okay. So this is actually the comparison between the bachelor degree students, master degree students, and then the graduate degree students, non-online graduate degree students. I split into three different segments, right? And you can see what are the most important and the least important. And I make it like a table like this, a comparison table, okay? So they like final exam, they like final exam. They like multiple choice, they like publications. This one, they do care about the delivery type. They like it asynchronous, okay? And the term, they don't like the modular, okay? This one, they do care about Blackboard course outcomes, perhaps because they want to know like why we need to learn this class, okay? And then this one, they don't like SITworks because for them, most important is actually publications, okay? And then the SITworks, no, no, no. And for the delivery type, they like actually the synchronous, okay? And then you can actually see. And what will happen with the senior high school, okay, with the 1,000, more than 1,100 participants, okay? So in here, everyone, as you can see, the most important for them, almost the same with undergraduate degree students, they actually do care about the evaluation, because undergraduate and senior high school, they want to have good scores, okay? And then, like the percentage in here, like 41%, okay, everyone. But interestingly, they actually consider the virtual laboratory as the second most important attribute, still with the important scores 22.5%. Okay. And for delivery type, they like the same. They like multiple choice. Okay. They like matching type, actually okay. They like project, but they don't like identification, essay, and computation. Okay. And then for the virtual laboratory, and then for the virtual laboratory, okay, and then they actually don't like the requirement for the virtual laboratory because it's quite complicated for them, okay. And then for the delivery type, okay, they actually like mix, okay, same, but they actually prefer asynchronous more than synchronous, okay. And then these are actually, you can see, okay. So in here, if you compare, those two publications, okay, this is actually the one in the evaluation program planning. This is actually sustainability. So for the senior high school, okay, everyone, okay, they actually prefer the final exam, almost close to this one for the bachelor degree students, okay. Virtual laboratory, no, they don't like it, okay. And delivery type, they actually prefer asynchronous more, okay, and then they prefer MS Teams and so on. So this is actually very, I would like to say, interesting findings. Okay, for the conclusion, limitations, and future research direction, okay, everyone, these are the key findings, okay? So for the senior high school, evaluation was found to have the highest score, okay, followed by virtual laboratory, delivery type, delivery platform, interface layout, and assigned tasks. And then these are the keys findings, okay? For the evaluation, they prefer multiple choice, okay? Students do not prefer virtual laboratories. And then for the delivery type, the students prefer mix, but if they have to choose between asynchronous or asynchronous, they prefer asynchronous more. And then they prefer MS Teams rather than Zoom, okay, then Blackboard Collaborate. And lastly, they prefer to work within a group rather, and consider course outcomes layout as the preferred interface. And for the IE students, very interesting, as you can see between the PS online master degree program and graduate degree program. For the PS, the most important final exam, they're like multiple choice. This one they actually do care about the delivery type, and this one they do care about the final exam. The publications. All of them they don't like SITworks, almost like close, in here. And then this one to care about the Blackboard template. This one care about the term style, and this one delivery type. They like synchronous more. And these are the limitations, okay, of the study, okay? Despite the substantial and practical contributions of the study, there are several limitations while generalizing about the current study's findings, okay? It focuses on the preference rather than the performance, okay? And for future research, we can combine the preference and the performance by a method, for instance, like structural equation modeling. It will be a very promising topic, okay? And then it mainly focuses on the Mapua University, Senior High School, BS, MS, and PhD. But since for the undergraduate, MS and PhD only IE students, but perhaps I can have a full, like the whole university, for example, like the whole Mapua. But I'm still doing it, okay. And lastly, it conducted during the COVID-19 pandemic. Perhaps after the pandemic, it will be different, or I don't know, the same or different. Let's see. And currently, I'm doing the clustering. Okay, so cluster analysis for the market segmentation, or like the students market segmentations, I would like to say, everyone. And then because some students they actually prefer multiple choice, but there are some that they like publications, or there are some that they like synchronous more. So I would like to see those market segmentations. Okay, and then I'm currently doing it, and hopefully I can publish more papers using the current data. So basically, that's all my presentation. Thank you, everyone. Maraming salamat po.